bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, it's Thursday, April 12th, 2018. 102 days into the new year, just 263 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California, and I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Tonight is another Fadernight with Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. You can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can forget about Facebook. YouTube, you can still subscribe over there. Everything is Fade to Black, Jimmy Church Radio, and you can go now, follow, don't like, and subscribe. The sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. We use TweetDeck around here. So there you go. Let's see here. What is... You guys are just the best. That Murph, I'm going to retweet that right now. That is pretty good. So that is this picture here that I just retweeted. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I like the way you did it here, Murph, though. That's actually really good. I'm going to steal that. I would normally steal it and post it on Facebook, but I don't Facebook anymore. So I'll figure out something to do with that. And the phone lines aren't open yet, and they are just ringing off the hook. I don't know why. Everybody settled down. You know it's Fader night. Yeah, we don't open up the lines here for a little bit. Okay. Any questions or comments during the show tonight, just use hashtag F2BQ. And we use TweetDeck. And if you are on Twitter and you haven't used TweetDeck or don't know what it is, go over and download TweetDeck and get it installed. I don't know if you can still do the standalone version, but there's a browser version, but it will... just change your life, okay? Now, it is open lines tonight, open lines all night long. We're going to have Jon Rappoport here in the bottom of the hour. And until then, then we'll open up the phone lines at 8, okay, in 1 hour. Today, breaking news, check this out. NASA has released a virtual tour of the moon in 4K. And if you haven't seen it, you can check it out. It's over on space.com. And it's based on data provided by their Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft. And it's stunning. You need to go and check it out. And I wanted to be able to find a version of it that I could, control. Maybe control shift whatever, and with a mouse and move it around. Maybe they'll release a version like that, because I would like to go up in 4K and look at the resolution there. It's pretty amazing to look at. But that's out, and it's on space.com. But also today, Russia releases another 360-degree mouse controllable video. Full 360 of an ISS spacewalk. Revealing a pretty round Earth, by the way, in the background. Both are amazing to watch. The NASA tour, again, is over at space.com, and the 360 can be found over at RT on RT.com. RT.com. .com. Kim.com got like 10 shout-outs last night. I wonder if he knows that. And, okay, now, I was mentioning last night on the show about OnStellar, and tomorrow I get my full review of the platform. I cannot wait for this. So they're ready to go. And I'm going to be able to check that out tomorrow night. You can go and register right now over at OnStellar, OnStellar.com. And it's easy. All you're going to do, a couple of, your email, password confirmation, email, verify, confirmation, all of that. And after you get that done, then you can just click on login. And it's all done automatically. And then you can choose your screen name. Get it all done, and use the promo code Jimmy when you do all of this. You'll get some bonus tokens when the platform launches in Q3. But all of this is leading up to some pretty exciting stuff, because the registered users, we're going to be doing alpha and beta testing here in a couple of weeks, and I am excited. But this is the new social media platform of the future. It's done for our community. It's based on the blockchain. We're going to have our own token economy, and we're going to get to hang out, promote, reward, no censorship, none of that. It's not controlled by the man. This is a decentralized, as it should be, social media platform. Okay, so go and register today on Stellar.com. On Monday's show, I'll have a review of everything for you. Okay, I've seen some stuff, but this will be my first time I'll be able to dance. So I'm going to do that tomorrow night. Also, tomorrow, I'll get the links up for this, but I'm going to be on a podcast tomorrow to an interview on OnStellar. So I'm going to do that, and as soon as that is finished, I'll get the links up there, and you guys can go and check out the podcast. Okay. All right. Our next event will be June 1st through the 4th, 2018. Contact in the Desert, Indian Wells, Palm Springs, at the Renaissance Resort and Spa. Tickets and info are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I think they're giving away some free passes starting today, too, as well. And you can go and find out how to do that and go over to their website. All right, it's contactinthedesert.com. And then right after that, our Soul Tech Gathering. This is for the Fadernauts. It's going to be up at ECETI Ranch in Washington this August 9th through the 12th. Just go to soultechgathering.com. Tickets and info are right there. And I need to stress with you guys, we're only selling 300 tickets. That's it, 300 Fadernauts all in one place at one time. And while you are over at our website, jimmychurchradio.com, you can subscribe to our podcast. We have over 835 archive shows right there, just $2 a month. Click on the podcast banner over on our website. And you can also become an official Fadernaut. And just go to the membership section right there on the website. Downloadable archives, commercial free. You get the bunker cam, autographed hats, T-shirts, all that stuff. Private email to me. You can get all of that by becoming an official Fadernaut today. All right. Man, these phones are going nuts. I'm hanging up on everybody just to let you know. I don't know what's going on. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Claire Danes is 39. Homeland. Yeah, Homeland is good this season, too. Man, it's getting nuts. David Letterman today is 71. Our dead guy's birthday today is David Cassidy. 1950 to 2017, died at the age of 67. Of course, he was Keith Partridge of the Partridge Family. And I had the 45 of I Think I Love You. I did. I was so young. Man, I was probably, when did that show start? I was probably 8. And I went up to Tops. That was the name of the department store down the street from our house up there in Chicago. Tops. And they had 45s there, which I bought constantly from anywhere from a nickel to like 25 cents each. And I got my coveted I Think I Love You 45. That song used to freak me out. I don't even know what it meant. It was the music, the way that it was written. You know, it was just, it was written in D minor, the saddest of all keys. Just an amazing song. On February 20th, 2017, last year, he announced that he was living with dementia, a condition that his mother suffered from at the end of her life. And then 8 short months later, November 21st, 2017, he died of liver failure. Just said Keith Partridge. David Cassidy, the age of 67. Happy birthday, David. On this day in history, OTD, 2 things went down that involved space in a big way. 1981, the first launching of the space shuttle. Columbia is launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida, becoming the first reusable manned spacecraft to travel into space. But 20 years prior, in 1961, Yuri Gagarin was the first person to orbit the Earth. There you go, allegedly. No, he really did it. I just don't know if he was actually the first. Fader fact, Iran arrested 14 squirrels in 2007. Now, let me repeat this. Iran arrested 14 squirrels in 2007. For what, you may ask? Well, they arrested them for spying. And that is a Fader fact. Tonight, another Fader night with Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live, followed by open lines all night long. The call-in numbers are 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Now, let me hit this River Moon coffee. It's like, I'm going to say this, because River Moon custom roast, right? You know, it's not done in huge truckloads, like, the big chains out there. And it's getting darker. It is. Today, it's extra special dark. Just amazing coffee. Yes. At the beginning of the show, I mentioned that NASA has just released a 4K moon tour, 4K resolution moon tour, and that Russia released the 360-degree spacewalk. And both incredible. But that wasn't everything. No. These are great days that we live in. Because here are 6 more amazing front page headlines from today, all dealing with our community. Yeah. The days of disclosure. Check these out. First, discovery. This is the headline. Mainstream media. Discovery of alien life made difficult by human cognitive limitations and biases. It's a headline. So, front page news, right? So, I go and I check this out. I got to read that. And basically, what the article says is that we either don't know where to look, or it's been in front of us and we haven't noticed it. Yeah. Radio waves are around us, but we don't know how to listen. Signals are there, but we don't know what to do because we don't know that they are there. And they referred back to the gorilla test. And in the gorilla test, they ran a video, and I remember seeing it. A bunch of people throwing a basketball around, and at the end of the video, they ask you how many times did they pass the basketball, right? And you're guessing a number. What they're actually looking for is, if you notice, because you're watching the basketball, but you don't notice that somebody walks through the screen in a gorilla suit, right? Costume. And it's plain as soon as it's pointed out to you and you go back and look, now you can't help but watch the gorilla, right, walk through. And you're not watching the basketball anymore. Very interesting. And so what they are trying to say there is that rational people, that consider themselves rational, and maybe I'll use the word smart, don't know where to look. Or alien signals are all around us and they don't see them because they don't think that they're there. Right? And because they think that they're smart and there is no alien life, then therefore there is no alien signal, so they're searching in the wrong place, or they don't care. It's a very interesting point. Now, that is one of the articles from today. Then I have this, and this was pretty incredible and pretty incredible images. The headline reads, "Strange Zoo of Dusty Disk Captured Around Newly Formed Stars 23550. It's about newly formed stars 230 to 550 light years away. And now you got to click on that, right? You've got to read this. And this is mainstream media, right? So you click on that and you look at these images. The images are incredible. They are of multiple orange, I'm going to say orange and red, multicolored, flame-colored fire. Flat disc. Some are donuts in different positions, but they're clustered, and they look absolutely amazing. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb here, but I'm going to say they kind of look artificial. Could be, but we've never seen anything like this in the universe. And they are just absolutely incredible. And they're saying, they're guessing that these are clusters of dust. But they are disc, they're flat, they're not flying saucers. That's not what I'm suggesting. They're too big. I mean, they're huge. It's like the size of our solar system big. But they're beautiful. And you need to go look at these high-res images. Why is this article out there right now? Again, with all of the talk of UFOs and disclosure and everything that's going on, these are the headlines. This is what gets clicks. You don't get stuff on the front page of mainstream media if you're not getting clicks. And this strange zoo of dusty discs captured around it. What are they trying to do here? What are they trying to suggest? Well, I clicked. I had to. It's right there. And then I found this also today. Neutron stars glitch captured with radio telescope for the first time ever. It's like a smorgasbord of amazing news. So, again, what is causing this glitch in signals coming from this neutron star? What is causing that? You need to go and check that out. Now, here, one of the biggest articles today, and the biggest I'm saving for last, is this. We've been talking about polar reversals, the possibility of that there is less magnetism protecting us right now, and of course, in the event of some massive solar radiation or other things coming at us, what would happen here on Earth? And our magnetic field is what protects us. There isn't one around Mars. Well, allegedly, that's what they tell us. I haven't been to Mars. But ours is interesting. And then we have this. Ocean magnetism. The ESA mapped Earth's second magnetic field in unprecedented detail. Holy crap. That's readable stuff, right? And I clicked, and I'm looking at the imaging, and I don't want to spoil the article. You've got to go and read it. But now I've got 4 articles plus the original 2, and today I feel like I got a PhD. I feel smart today. Incredible. But as if that wasn't enough, we got this today. Front page, mainstream media, a 3D infrared tour of Jupiter's North Pole just released by NASA. Some of the most incredible images you're ever going to see. They are so incredible, it looks like the craziest sci-fi film that you can imagine. The worst nightmare that you could put together in your sleep. The images are that good. And they are of the 7 cyclones on Jupiter's North Pole, these permanent lava, crazy storms that are going on in the North Pole. And you've got to go and look at this. And they are there all the time. They don't go anywhere. And they're huge, right? Think about the size of Jupiter, and you've got these 7 cyclones that are permanent on the North Pole. Go and look at those images. If that doesn't cause a nightmare, I'm serious, too. It's just incredible. And so I'm looking at them. Let me hit this coffee again. I'm fired up. It reminded me of Tim Burton. I don't know why. It reminded me of a combination of like The Corpse Bride and The Nightmare Before Christmas and a little Edward Scissorhands. It's got that Tim Burton look to it. Yeah, Nightmare. Amazing. Was Pixar involved? That's funny. That is funny. And so that's story number 5. And then we have this. Headline, Buzz Aldrin did not see an alien UFO. Hey, thank you, Eagle Eye, for this. Look at that. Is that Tim Burton or what? Look at that. That is just nuts. Thank you for that, Eagle Eye. I'm going to retweet this right now. That is, it's a good job right there. Thank you so much. That is what's going on in the North Pole of Jupiter. Isn't it Tim Burton-ish? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Got a couple smaller ones, and I don't know what's going on in the middle. But that's Tim Burton. I don't know why I see Tim Burton here. And there's a few more going on, but these 7, right? That's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, so back to Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin did not see an alien UFO. Earlier this week, it got out through a couple of the UK publications. I don't know if it was like The Sun or The Daily or whatever. It popped up over there that there was a lie detector test laid on some recordings of Buzz Aldrin and I think Armstrong, maybe others. I read a little bit of the article and I kind of bailed out on it. Because I thought that Buzz, sat down and took a lie detector test. I didn't realize they were just taking audio. But kind of bummed me out, this article. This is the deal. The lie detector test apparently was done on these recordings, but the results, the actual results have not been published. Just the story was published. Kind of bummed me out right there. Then there's the other part to the story. The part that was analyzed with the lie detector program was a story about Buzz looking out, the window, Apollo 11, saw something, and talked about it back to Houston. And as it turns out, they were only, at this point, 6,000 miles away from Earth. And this is what Buzz said. And he wanted to clarify what he saw. And it's the 4 panels that separate off of the last stage of the rocket. The command module, pulls out. These 4 panels float away. And, and the panels are there, at the same speed that they're going at space, and it's going to stay with them. They're flying away. But what he saw out the window was an L-shaped object that was reflecting light. And as it turns out, he feels that he is confident in saying that it was one of the panels that he saw, that it wasn't some object, flying after him or anything like that. So, when he saw a real object, and obviously there's no deception there, and I guess if you're going to run a lie detector test or program over that analysis, he was speaking the truth, so there's no deception there. But when you hear now, Buzz believes in aliens, and he's probably seen things. But that moment, that's actually what happened. Buzz has clearly said over the years that the monolith on Phobos orbiting Mars is not natural, and we need to go and check that out. And I agree. And we've got to get back to Mars. The T-shirts, right? And I think that Buzz is with us and with this community. Okay, he's not with the Apollo hoax, but as far as aliens and contact and ET and the possibility of him seeing UFOs at other times, I think all of that is real. And for him to suggest that Phobos is, the monolith there is artificial, that says everything. But this article that came out was actually deceptive, and it made the headlines. And then this article came out today and really made the headlines back into mainstream media, which goes back to what I was talking about last night with Daniel Sheehan. The mainstream media now is on our side. They are okay with publishing and distributing these stories now on the front page of mainstream media. And you can go and poke around at all the different major sites out there. And I'm talking about the major mainstream sites, and you are going to find these articles, and they're right there on the front page. We never had this before. These are great days. And with that, I'm going to get out of here so I can get in the one and only Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. Oh, I forgot to mention my computers. I'll do that at the top of the hour. But everything is good. I don't smell anything. That was nuts last night, wasn't it? It really happened. I'll talk about that at the top of the hour. I'll be right back with Jon Rappoport. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe.
Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA. The Planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at KGRAradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake News room in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world, as it is fed to us every day by the Ministry of Truth, is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout, and we see the light of day, a new day. No more robots, no more androids. It's the No More Fake News room with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Hello, folks. Back again. Looking at two stories tonight. I'm going to start off with one that's right here in mainstream media. A massive semi-infinite trove of rare earth metals has been found in Japan. CNBC reports. Researchers have found hundreds of years' worth of rare earth materials under Japanese waters, enough to supply to the world on a, quote, semi-infinite basis, according to a study published in Nature Publishing Group's Scientific Reports. Rare earth metals are crucial in the making of high-tech products, such as electric vehicles and batteries, and most of the world has relied on China for almost all of its needs. So the article goes on to say that in 2010, Japan started seeking its own rare earth metals after China held back shipments in 2010 during a dispute over islands, etc., etc. Now, This is very interesting because we're talking about some of the most valuable mineral substances in the world as far as producing products, money, profits, etc. But products that are essential to modern civilization. So here's where I start to turn off the main road and go into, admittedly, speculation. China has been using the fact that it contains or has possession of most of these rare earth metals and has been using it as a kind of a chip in all trade relations, because China can say, well, we're going to cut your shipments like it did to Japan. We're not going to be shipping you any more of these, or we're going to cut our shipments in half if you do this. And of course, this has many political ramifications as well. And you can bet that in the current percolating trade war, as it's being called, between China and the U.S., that both sides are very much aware that China holds this ace in the deck, the rare earth metals. What are they going to do? Are they going to stop shipping these materials to producers that export electronic products to the United States, or to manufacturers inside the United States that make some of these products? And all of a sudden, Japan emerges. And as you can remember from what I just said, starting in 2010, Japan began to look to see where else it could find these materials when China cut them off. And now, supposedly, they have discovered this gigantic trove in Japanese waters. So, what has happened to Japanese waters of a catastrophic nature since 2010? Fukushima. The nuclear facility power plants in Japan. So, and you can explore this for yourself and see if anybody's commenting on it. What happens when these rare earth materials, metals, have been exposed to massive amounts of radiation, which are dumping into the waters off Japan from Fukushima for several years now? Are these rare earth metals still usable? If so, how does all of this radiation complicate the effort to find them and remove them safely, even if they're still usable? I'm just scanning the articles. I'm looking here. Extracting those metals from the seabed is an expensive affair, etc. Conducting a feasibility test within the next 5 years to see about the extraction. But so far, nobody's mentioning the massive radiation. A, are these rare earth metals still usable? And B, if they are, how does all the massive radiation in the waters off Japan complicate and add to the expense of trying to mine them and remove them? Does it make it impossible, for example? And one final question, which is going way out on a limb, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is it possible that China became aware at some point before, say, 2013, that Japan had a good chance or was on the verge or had even then discovered the the extreme likelihood that there were millions of tons of this material off their coasts, and therefore, is it possible that China had something to do with what happened at Fukushima? Just asking the question. Just asking the question. Let's move to a completely other subject, which I have covered here before, but I want to approach it from a slightly different angle, and that is the opioid crisis. Opioid drugs such as fentanyl and OxyContin and perhaps 60 or 70 other painkillers that are extremely powerful and have created, according to estimates, 2 million opioid addicts in the U.S., 300,000 deaths since the year 2000 in the U.S., and many more people who haven't died but will die or will remain severely damaged for the rest of their lives. I mean, the breadth and scope of this story is astounding. And I start my article this week by saying the major pipeline for trafficking opioid drugs starts with pharmaceutical manufacturers who are intentionally distributing opioids far beyond any legitimate need, meaning far beyond the patient population of people in extreme pain who need strong painkillers. So, I've covered this before, but some people didn't get it. Some people are still not getting it. And this is an illustration of how a story can appear in mainstream media, big-time story, and still sink without a stone, like a stone, into the pond, with a few ripples, no follow-up, no continued pounding on it, no investigation. People don't pick up the ball and run with it. They don't even believe it's true, even when they're reading it sometimes. So, in the article that I wrote, I say, here's the open secret. A 2016 law signed by Obama shackled the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, in its efforts to crack down on big pharma traffickers. By traffickers, I mean pharmaceutical companies, several of whom have been exposed in the press, who are sending huge supplies of these opioid pills to little pharmacies, little clinics in the middle of nowhere, who in turn sell massive numbers of these pills to dealers or wholesalers who then distribute them to street dealers, and they get out on the street and so on and so forth. The DEA has been shackled in their attempts to crack down on these pharmaceutical companies because of a 2016 law signed by Obama. That law is called the Ensuring Patient Access and Effective Drug Enforcement Act of 2016, passed by Congress, signed by Obama on April 9th, 2016. Okay? Now, I then write, honest agents inside the complacent DEA want to have the right to march into a pharmaceutical company headquarters and say, we know you're shipping millions of opioid pills to little pharmacies and clinics that in turn are selling the pills to street dealers. We're going to freeze those shipments now, and we're going to arrest key executives. But that 2016 law raises the bar so high on what the DEA can do that the whole law enforcement effort is hamstrung, throttled, and loaded down with legal complications. In essence, the U.S. Congress and Obama gave drug companies a free pass to continue to do what they're doing, trafficking in opioids, and no one in the Congress is admitting it or talking about it. You'll see members of Congress getting up on their hind legs and saying we have to do something to stop the crisis. They voted for the bill that became a law that makes it extremely, extremely, extremely difficult for the DEA to do anything. Okay? Now, some people reading my articles are, well, he's just talking. There's nothing in the mainstream press about this, because if there were, I mean, this would be an incredible scandal, right? The Washington Post, October 15th, 2017, the article was called "The Drug Industry's Triumph Over the DEA." In April 2016, at the height of the deadliest drug epidemic in U.S. history, Congress effectively stripped the Drug Enforcement Administration of its most potent weapon against large drug companies suspected of spilling prescription opioid narcotics onto the nation's streets. A handful of members of Congress, still quoting from the Washington Post, allied with the nation's major drug distributors, meaning the pharmaceutical companies, prevailed upon the DEA and the Justice Department to agree to a more industry-friendly law, undermining efforts to stanch the flow of pain pills, according to an investigation by the Washington Post and 60 Minutes. The law was the crowning achievement of a multifaceted campaign by the drug industry to weaken aggressive DEA enforcement efforts against drug distribution companies that were supplying corrupt doctors and pharmacists who peddled opioid narcotics to the black market. The pharmaceutical industry worked behind the scenes with lobbyists and key members of Congress to pass the 2016 law, pouring more than $1 million into their election campaigns. Still quoting from the Washington Post, the new 2016 law makes it virtually impossible for the DEA to freeze suspicious narcotic shipments from the companies, meaning the pharmaceutical companies. According to internal agency and Justice Department documents, and an independent assessment by the DEA's chief administration law judge, etc., etc. So, the claim has been that this bill that passed virtually unanimously in Congress, that shackled the DEA, the congressmen and women didn't know what they were voting on. They just didn't know. I mean, that in itself is preposterously, ominous. But now they do know. Now they do. And I write, since everyone is now aware of the law's horrendous impact, why doesn't the Congress repeal it? The fact that no one is stepping up to the plate with a fast repeal is proof that multiple parts of the federal government are, in fact, tacitly supporting the opioid crisis and its devastating impacts on human life. We didn't know what we were voting on is at best a temporary excuse until the truth comes to light. After that, failure to act swiftly amounts to collusion in death by opioids. President Obama, the Congress, and officials within the Justice Department and the DEA are all guilty. That's me talking, writing. That's quite a story, wouldn't you say? There it is, out in the open. 300,000 deaths since the year 2000 in the U.S. This is a global problem. 2 million opioid addicts in the U.S. The Washington Post runs a major piece on this. Nothing happens. The law is not repealed, the 2016 law. The Washington Post doesn't really follow up. I mean, come on. You don't even have to be a journalist or a student of journalism to understand how a newspaper could follow up. You start knocking on Congress people's doors and saying, here's what you did. Now, you can comment on this for us, or you can say no comment and we will put that in the next story. Well, I didn't know what I was voting on. Nobody did. And blah, blah, blah. Well, explain how that's possible. Well, nobody reads these things, really. Nobody reads them. That's interesting. We'll include that in the story. Well, it's just, but now that you're aware, Senator, why don't you do something to immediately repeal the law? Now, you start knocking on enough doors in Congress and the Justice Department and even the DEA, because there are people within the DEA who actually caved in and just let this law pass. And there's even a major past employee of the DEA, who went over to the dark side and joined the pharmaceutical industry and helped them craft the 2016 law. And that's all in the Washington Post article. And also my insider, who confirmed all of this for me. You start knocking on enough doors and being tough enough, and you're going to have stories that are going to explode people's heads from here until the cows come home. And you're going to have people rolling over on each other. Well, it was his fault because he told me to vote for it and that I didn't have to read it. Well, who's he? Well, Congressman so-and-so. Well, let's go to his office. Yeah, sure. So the other Congressman, Smith, said that you were the one who told him to vote for this law in 2016. In fact, we have 3 other congressmen who said the same thing. So on what basis did you tell them to do this? Well, just like you do in a federal case where you have people who are being prosecuted rolling over and getting some kind of, I don't know what you would call it in this case, in the case of journalism, but at least they will try to shift the blame higher on the food chain, and they will reveal more and more people who are really responsible here. Well, so-and-so was in bed with the drug companies for the last 15 years in Congress. Everybody knows that. He was instrumental in getting this bill passed. I see. Thank you very much. We're going to go there next. And by the way, when are you going to introduce a bill to repeal that law from 2016? Well, I don't know. Well, you mean you don't think it should be repealed? Well, of course it should be. Why isn't anybody taking action? This is how you build a story when you have resources like the Washington Post does, or any major media outlet of any size. But it's not happening. It's not happening. And so we have the entire U.S. Congress on the hook for opioid deaths, opioid destruction, and giving the pharmaceutical companies a free pass to keep on trafficking opioids. These are not shipments, in case there is any confusion at this late date, these are not shipments destined for hospitals or doctors who are prescribing them to patients who are in desperate need of relief from agonizing pain. We're talking about trafficking. Illegal trafficking. the pharmaceutical companies, the drug companies are the main traffickers. The main traffickers. Illegally. Okay? Looking at the Washington Post quote again, Congress effectively stripped the Drug Enforcement Administration of its most potent weapon, freezing the shipments of trafficked opioids. Stripped the DEA of its most potent weapon against large drug companies suspected of spilling prescription opioid narcotics onto the nation's streets. The word suspected is no longer relevant. It's all been exposed in the open mainstream press. They're doing it. They are doing it. Get the word out. And that's my report for tonight. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing, John. And I went really quick. I went and was reading about Japan, rare earths. And it's all over the media, by the way. Wall Street Journal, CNBC, Japan Times, Fortune. And so everybody can go and read this. But I'm with you, John. It reminded me, I've got to make this really quick. For everybody out there, one of the greatest frauds of all time, Bre-X. And Bre-X, John, you can write that down, BRE-EX, Bre-X, it happened out of Canada, it was like Sumatra or Java, an island out there, where the largest gold deposits ever in the history of the world were discovered, right? 100 times bigger than the next gold vein in South Africa, right? Like the craziest thing. And, stocks went through the roof. Billions of dollars were made and lost. And the guy that did the hoax, got thrown out of a helicopter in the jungle. But nonetheless, Bre-X. And this smells of Bre-X done to manipulate the markets. And ironic, it's 4 miles down. We can't really get to it, but it's there, and it's enough to supply the world. Throw all the markets off, kick up stocks. That's a great read, and I got the feeling it's not all what it seems. But to the second part, about this opioid crisis, this is what I don't get. The drug companies are watching the increase of semi-trucks full of Vicodin, right, or whatever, right? You pick your opioid, and pulling out and going somewhere, but nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. Man, the sales are up. It's as if every man, woman, and child in the United States just got in a car accident and broke every bone in their body. Right? That's what it's. Right. It's right. Like it's those kinds of numbers. It is on
that level.
Yes, and nobody cares.
It's just astounding. I mean, you would think that somebody from the Justice Department, would just march into Congress one day and cause an uproar. And say, we know what you're doing. We know about the law you passed. You know what it's done. It's shackled us. We can't do anything now. And nobody's saying anything, and nobody's introducing a bill that will repeal that law. Just bring down hell on these people. But nothing happens.
Yeah, I would love to see some charts and graphs on fentanyl production, on Vicodin production, right? OxyContin, what, and I guarantee you they're going to look like a Bitcoin graph, right?
Yeah,
just right. Through the roof. Thank you so much, my friend. Another great night here with you, and just thank you for taking out the time to spend with us and our wonderful audience, and they appreciate it and love you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Always a pleasure.
Jon Rappoport. And I'll say it again like I do every single Thursday. You must start off every day at nomorefakenews.com. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Thursday night, Fadernight. The phone lines are open, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I'll be right back with your phone calls. Stay with me.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Backley Tappy.
You're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly Ancient Life Oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Backley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Nights. It's open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. This show is about conspiracies. Fade to Black.com. And it's all things conspiracy, right? All encompassing. And what falls underneath that umbrella, and especially today, it's everything all the dots are connected. It's just it's crazy. It's nuts. And the more I look at the headlines and I listen to all of you and I see how things are playing out, it's crazy, right? It's just crazy. And so, what falls under the conspiracy umbrella? You have the basics like Conspiracy 101, everything from JFK to UFOs, 9/11, to the suppressed knowledge of everything. Suppressed knowledge is one of the biggest conspiracies out there, and then what falls underneath that. And then you can just keep going, and how you can connect UFOs to JFK, to the pyramids, to our education system, all the way over to politics and the conspiracy of politics and the Fed and money and who's running the world. Everything is here, right? It's absolutely crazy. And I'm listening to Jon, one of my favorite books of all time. One of my favorites was on BRIEX. And somebody just posted, IPD just posted BCCI, another great book. And I have both of them. And these, when we talk about the possibility of this going on, the BRIEX fraud and hoax was one of the most incredible, and everybody got taken down by it. And I'm talking about, Canada, the amount of money that was lost with that, it was huge. And this was pulled off, and it went all the way to the stock exchange in New York. And you watch these penny stocks in BRIEX suddenly skyrocket back then to hundreds of dollars per share. And everybody wanted in because they believed in it, right? They believed in it. And you look at that kind of conspiracy, it was a conspiracy. And then what fell underneath that, and the banks that were involved in the investment, just a crazy situation. Then you have BCCI, right? And now it's like, wait a minute here. What does this have to do with UFOs or parallel worlds or time travel? It has everything to do with it. Everything is connected. And you look at the people that are involved, and it went all the way from BCCI, went all the way from the White House to Panama to drug trafficking to the CIA, and all of this money is funneled back into other black programs and other things that are going on around the world. This money doesn't just disappear. And you start to realize, you're driving down the street and you see I remember in Sherman Oaks when BCCI was going down, I remember the BCCI branch. And I'm just thinking to myself, it was going on here. So always remember that. And when I talk on the show and Jon brings up something tonight, like he did with what is going on in Japan right now, all the way to this opioid crisis and conspiracy. And always remember what the definition of conspiracy is, both in pop culture and what you can read in the dictionary. It's more than two people conspiring in a secret scheme to commit a crime, right? And I just picture, these corporate meetings with big pharma going, man, our profits are going through the roof. This is just great. And they don't care. And we're talking about truckloads, caravans of truck convoys. Yeah. And nobody seems to care. It's absolutely amazing. And before you think that this is some street level thing, and it's part of that, and it is, but that's the end. It goes all the way up to, I'm talking about manufacturing and the jobs that are created and the shareholders that are seeing their profits going up, and they don't want to see that go away, and nobody really cares where the money is coming from. And it's the same thing going back to like BRIEX or BCCI, which are two of the biggest, frauds in world history. And if you haven't gone back and studied up when we are talking conspiracy theory on this show, go and read those two books and get behind the scan and how it was set up and how it was done. It's absolutely incredible. Incredible. And it actually happened. Both stories. Incredible. All right. Let's go to the phones. Let's see. Who's up first? Let's go to area code 713. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're up first. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot, Jimmy, for taking the call. This is Chester.
Hey, Chester. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
What's on your mind tonight?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's on your mind?
I'll tell you what. You want a conspiracy? This is one I've been thinking about for years and years. Do you remember the Enron debacle?
Oh, of course.
Well, listen. Let me run this one by you. Ken Lay, the CEO, was convicted on 38 different counts. He goes to Oklahoma, mysteriously has a heart attack. His body was never sent back to Texas. He dies there, supposedly. They cremate him there, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
And they enacted half a law. And the full law says if you have overwhelming evidence to prove your innocence, they can, even though you can't appear, they can reverse the decision. So what they did is they enacted half of the law and said that he was innocent, and his wife got to keep the $360 million.
No. Are you serious? I didn't know about that.
Absolute fact. Look it up.
That's a fact.
Absolute fact. He got to keep, his wife got to keep every penny that he stole.
So
and he never appeared, never had overwhelming evidence of his innocence or anything. They just said, since he can't appear for his appeal, he's innocent. Fact.
Wow.
Not even a maybe.
Doesn't that just, I don't want you to encourage those that would have bad intentions, but just the knowledge of that, those out there, because there are plenty of people that don't have moral character or a moral compass, and they hear that and they go, well, they say you can't get away with it, but you really can. Did you see the documentary? I can't think of the name of it. Somebody will post it here on Twitter. I'll just mention it. But the guy that had the payday loan companies across the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the documentary about him?
No, sir.
Okay. There's a documentary just released on Netflix, and it's a series. And it's, I think, 8 or 10 episodes, and it starts from the beginning and goes to the end. And he had a racing team, and I remember reading about his racing team back before all of this blew up into lawsuits. And I was like, who is this guy? And, so he gets caught, and he almost got away with it. And, predatory loans and the way that he had set things up. But again, it's one of those things on the grand scale. And as long as people are employed, all of the employees there, they knew something wasn't quite right. Yeah, dirty money. Thank you. That's what it's called. Dirty money. Go and check that out. That is an incredible series. And if you're not infuriated, at the end, Enron is another example of this. I feel bad for the employees. There were people there with careers and pensions and all of that. But you think about the massive fraud and on the grandest of scales, and the fact that she could walk away with $360 million. That's
right.
And how many others just lost everything.
and $50,000 worth of plastic surgery, and his mother wouldn't even recognize him. And the home that he lived in River Oaks in Houston, just magically got finished. And the wife and everything, it just, nobody says a word about him anymore. Just everything's fine. Of course they're fine. He never died. He never died at all. That was a whole cover story, and they wound up down in probably, what's the name of that place? Montevideo. Probably wound up there living like kings, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Your punishment is you can't come back to America, but you can keep all of your money. Oh, poor me. What a punishment.
Right. Thank you for that, Chester. I'm going to go and look that up. So he could be alive walking around somewhere.
Of course. Half a law.
Wow.
Half a law. That's all they did. And nobody even brought it up. Nobody said a word about it.
I wonder how much.
You said,
you bring up a really good point. And I don't even know if you realize that you made this point. I wonder how much it would cost for you to pay off a funeral home for a jar full of ashes and have your name put on it and pay off the coroner, the body, the suicide. I wonder how much that would cost.
Well, why even pay them off? Why not just have a bottle of ashes and says it came from Joey Buttafuoco's funeral parlor? Make the whole thing up.
Well, you got to get a death certificate. So how much does it cost for a death certificate? So I'm thinking probably not that much. Right?
How good's your printer? I mean, who says it's legit? That was the thing that got me. Texas Medical Examiner said, we never saw a body. We never saw anything. There was no validation that it was even him or even if it was a body. Just mysteriously died in Oklahoma. They cremated the body. Remember JFK Jr.? They actually flew a portable crematory out onto a Navy destroyer to cremate the bodies before they even came back to shore. Gee, I wonder why. They didn't want any autopsy on him either.
To this day, I still think about Osama bin Laden, right, being buried at sea. And I'm thinking, here we have, a manhunt that went on for how many years, right? And
what a farce.
Yeah. 2001 and 9/11. And when did they finally catch him? It was 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
What did they?
But to have a burial at sea with like the most notorious manhunt in history, and that's how it ends. That's how it ends. I don't know. I'm not saying he's alive, but that was anticlimactic. That was a very weird decision right there. So there you go. Chester, thank you so much for the phone call, man.
You're quite welcome. Good night, sir.
There you go. That's a great phone call right there. Ken Lay. Really? Ken Lay, Enron. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Jimmy.
Yes.
Hey, man. This is Mark from Dallas.
Mark from Dallas. How are you?
Doing great, man. I just wanted to let you know I feel a lot of kinship with the show, as I've been a hired gun strat player here in Dallas since a long time ago. Anyway, I've been doing that for a long time. And I think that's what one of the things I love about the show is that you're so music savvy and come from such a similar background. And just want to know I really appreciate that. Plus, when I heard that you worked for Alesis,
right?
I drug an Alesis Midi-Verb 2 through every club and honky-tonk in Dallas-Fort Worth for about 15 years, and I never could break that thing.
The Midi-Verb,
Yeah,
the original. It's funny you bring that up. The original Midi-Verb, the one that was like third rack space, right? So
yes,
that thing sounded incredible. And the Micro-Verb, that's what it was called. And then they came out with the Midi-Verb 2, then the Midi-Verb 4. And those things, what flips me out is there were so many of those sold and they were in every studio, every guitar player's rack in the country, period. Hands down, right? Thousands and thousands were sold each week. Where are they now?
That's a great question.
Where are they now? Where are they now? You know, guitar players don't have racks behind them anymore. There's no more recording studios. Everybody's doing everything in software. You know, so where are they now? You remember how? You know what? I'll even top that if you can. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
SPX 90.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we stop and think about that, the Yamaha SPX 90, again, another reverb unit that was the staple of everything. You either had the MIDI Verb 2 or 4, or an SPX 90, or both. And most people had 2 or 3 or 4. Some studios you would walk in and they would have a rack of them, and they were everywhere. Where are they now? Where are they? Where are they?
Man, that's a great question.
Where are they?
Man, I have no idea, but one of the things I want to do tonight, I want to do something completely different. I want to have a rock and roll lightning round with you.
Mm-hmm.
You up for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got 3 guitarists, and I'm going to try to get you to give me the answers of these 3 guitarists. Okay, now tonight's category is Canadian guitarists. Okay, I got 3 of them.
Okay.
All right, here's a lightning round. I'm going to read this, and then I want you to give me the guitar. I'm going to start off with something real easy, okay?
Okay.
Number 1, this Montreal-born guitarist was influenced heavily by Hendrix and recognized by Guitar Player magazine as a full-spectrum guitar god alongside others such as Jeff Beck and Eddie Van Halen. He and Mark Farner clearly had the best hair in 70s rock. But no one could figure out, Jimmy, what made his mahogany rush so much.
Frank Marino.
The great Frank Marino.
That's right. Amazing guitarist. Frank Marino. The album Mahogany Rush Live to this day is one of the great albums in music history.
And do you think he's underrated for some reason? Like, he never got the props, I think, that he deserved. I don't know why.
There's a few guys that were like that, especially from that era, that never quite broke through, like Les Dudek, you know? Why wasn't Les Dudek as famous as Billy Gibbons or you just brought Hendrix or whoever, Les Dudek, Ghost Town Parade? Holy crap, what a great album. Okay, who's your number? Give me the next one.
Okay, number 2. Let's keep it easy. This Toronto-born rocker could lay down blues and rock with the best of them. He is known for his raw Johnny Winter-like vocals and screaming guitar solos. Like most of us, he was influenced heavily by Hendrix. Sometimes he would get confused, Jimmy, and start snorting whiskey and drinking cocaine.
Okay, now again... this is we're almost in the same statements or comments here.
Correct.
But this is what his name escapes me right now. Who you're snorting whiskey, drinking cocaine. I saw him like 3 times in concert.
It's going to be okay. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
The great Pat Travers.
Pat Travers. Okay, so now Pat Travers. And what the band that he had with what's his name on vocals after Pat Travers? It was called I can't remember the name of the band, the trio. But anyway, Pat Travers was another guy in that same era that nearly broke. Now he was pretty big in like Michigan, Chicago. In the Northeast. He did really good through that period, but he never kicked it to the next level.
Yeah, man, and he had great vocals. He could sound just like Johnny Winter.
And he was a good-looking guy. He was the full package.
Yeah, right.
He was the full package. So yeah, Pat Travers. And I'm trying to think of that band that he had right after that. Okay, who's guitar player number 3?
Number 3. This long-time loyal sideman played lead guitar for a well-known Canadian pop rock star. His Stratocaster lead rides, Jimmy, would cut like a knife. Name that guitarist.
And he played really. Sideman. Don't tell me it's Randy Bachman.
No, okay. So this is a tough one. So when I say cuts like a knife, that would be Bryan Adams.
That's Bryan Adams. I can't think of who his guitar player was.
Now this is one of the most underrated cats that I know because he's always been one of my favorite players. He is the guy that made him rock, made Bryan Adams rock. It's a guy named Keith Scott. Keith Scott was with Bryan Adams for 20 years, probably still is. And he would play a Strat to a TS-808, and man, that's my exact same rig. And I mean, the dude just sounded great and rock solid every night. So I didn't think you would get that one, but most people need to understand who Keith Scott is. That cat can play his rear off, and he has been great for many, many years.
Now, you didn't go with my favorite, my hidden gem. My hidden gem is Rick Emmett. And Rick Emmett. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you something funny. I go up, I'm doing the Canadian Music Awards. What are they called? The Dove Awards or in Toronto. What's the Canadian Music Award? It doesn't matter. So I'm there for that. And
they're
yeah, and at like at the Harbor Castle or something at the convention center. I could be wrong, Canada. Please don't get angry. But anyway, there was this music convention on the main floor, and I'm walking through, and I hear this guy playing Triumph songs on acoustic guitar, and I looked, and I said, man, that guy is pretty good. And I look, and it's Rick Emmett, man. and I just stop, and I'm just hanging out. And I got to talk to him, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what and it's on the convention floor, and
was he a good dude?
Oh man, totally cool. But he's one of those guys, man, that to me was one of the great players. Had the look, had the band. Yep. Oh man, Triumph was just amazing. So
great.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Well, man, Mark, thank you for this phone call. And where else can you get heavy metal guitar, Canadian guitar heroes, and UFOs all in the same show?
All right, dude. Next time we're going Germans, or we make those bass players next time. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm always good, man. I'm always good. Anybody that wants to talk Pat Travers on this show is always welcome. Thank you so much, Mark.
Talk to you later.
Great phone call. Thank you. Pat Travers. Yeah, he didn't do Randy Bachman, which would have been too easy, right? So there you go. Yeah, we should do Canadian singers, too, as well. We have, the great Burton Cummings. So let's take a break right here. When I come back, more of your phone calls are next. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to everybody, I promise. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's Thursday night. It is Fadernight, 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I'll be right back. Stay with me.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fadernight. 323-275-9695 or 323-825-5045. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Doug in Lake of the Ozarks.
How are you, Doug?
Hey, real good. And you?
I am doing good. You're live right now, Doug. Right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm kind of freaking out. I've never done this before, and I've got a story. I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base for about 3 years in the early 80s.
Really? Okay.
And, yeah, but before I get started on that, I was wanting to ask you a question. This is kind of a conspiracy night, right?
Right. Well, it's conspiracy every night here, Doug. But Whiteman is the big. It's Kansas City, right?
Yes. Yeah. It used to be had 150 ICBMs stationed all over Missouri and Kansas and pretty close to Arkansas and Iowa and all.
Yeah, I've driven by it, and that is a massive, massive Air Force base. But go ahead. So you were stationed there. What happened?
Well, actually, before I tell you about that, I was going to ask you a question about Elise's.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And the reason why is I'd read a story a long time ago about the guys from Line 6.
Yes.
They were Elise's engineers. Did you know those guys?
Oh, yeah. We all worked together. Sure.
Ah, okay, cool. Well, see, that's, I guess, from what I understand, the name Line 6 came from whenever these guys, engineers and whatnot, were doing these covert designs and so forth. I guess the lady that answered the phone for them would say, so-and-so on Line 6, and then they would know that it was this secret thing that they were doing behind Elise's back. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, well, could be. But let me say this now. The group of engineers that you're talking about, back then, Elise's, and I'm going back to around 1994, 95.
Right.
And when they were talking about what Line 6 was about and what they were planning on doing, which was modeling amplifiers, and they were going to build these things. It was I don't think Alesis was interested in that, right? And so they were like, well, you know what, go ahead, kind of thing. So down the street from Alesis, they had a little office, and a friend of mine, Jeff, that worked alongside me. I don't want to name names or do that kind of thing, but anyway, he would go over there after hours and on the weekends and would work on this modeling. And he would come back and tell me what modeling was. I was like, man, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I just like, why not just get a real Marshall, or whatever. But but Line 6 took off, and it was an incredible thing to witness. And Marcus, the main guy that you're talking about, his name was Marcus Ryle. And Marcus was one of the coolest guys, and I, hanging out with him and picking his brain and talking about this technology and how, but it takes, I didn't understand it, but it takes that kind of vision to go and take things to the next level and see what the future, and now look what modeling is today, right? It's everywhere.
Right.
Yep. And but yes, it's all true. Pretty much. I don't know about the Line 6 part, but the naming of the company, but that sounds good. But yeah, it's all true. That Line 6 was kind of like a little offshoot of Alesis, and Marcus Ryle and some other really talented engineers went over and started that company, and there you go. Marcus was one of the original guys over at Alesis when it started, and there you go. And I was right in the middle of it, and it was fascinating for me to. Those were just exciting times, going from analog to digital, and then of course we know what happened from there. And yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you called me. What's on your mind?
Oh, well, as I was saying earlier, I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base for about a little over 3 years, and anyway, I was listening to an interview, I think it was, with Linda Howe back in 2010, and this guy that said he was a security guard at Whiteman come on and told a story about this disc-shaped craft was coming over the bunkers where they stored the weapons. We'll say they call them reentry vehicles, and I used to calibrate test equipment, different parts. I worked in an electronics laboratory, and we used to go out to this bunker area once or twice a year. We would calibrate a thing called a dummy load. And the first time I went out there, my shop chief told me, he says, whatever you do, don't talk to those guys out there. And I was like, well, why not? And he said, because they're weird. And so anyway, we packed up and rode out there. And the first thing I noticed, of course, they let us in where the equipment was and whatnot. We hooked up all of our test equipment, everything started working. And I noticed as I was looking out, these guys were standing around with M16s, like locked and loaded. It was weird. And they would do nothing but stare up at the sky. They were like looking at the sky the whole time I was there. And I remember thinking, man, my shop chief, this guy was right. These guys are kind of weird. I was totally oblivious, had no idea, hadn't heard, seen anything the entire time I was there. But I guess after I heard this guy telling this story about these this craft coming down and making a grid pattern on top of these bunkers, and when he stuck his hand in it, the thing stopped doing whatever it was doing. It kind of, it was an aha moment for me. I was like, oh man, I'll bet you anything that those guys were some of the ones that had seen this happen.
Right.
And so I was just kind of curious, I don't know if we could send like a shout out to anybody else that might have been at Whiteman during that time. And
yeah, Whiteman. So you're saying Whiteman 2010.
Well, that's when this guy had called in and was describing it or telling the story to Linda.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's the beauty of having a big audience, because inevitably I'll get an email tomorrow. Yeah, man, I was at Whiteman. I saw it. So I'll get it. All right. So thank you so much, and I'll let everybody know on Monday after this. Now it's officially leaked out.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, well, in 95, just to go back to the other thing, I bought a Spider 2 amplifier back in 1995 when they first came out with them. And I've still got it. It still works fantastic.
Yeah, I've got Fender sent me one of the, I've got it behind me, the Mustang 2 modeling amplifier. And, you know, I've used a lot of modeling over the years. I had a Pod, one of the Line 6. So I never got a Spider, and I almost got. I was going to call up Line 6 and talk to my friends out there and have them, send me over something. But I got this Fender. Yeah, I got the Fender, and the Fender's cool. Modeling is where it's at. There's nothing wrong with a 50 or 100 watt or 45 watt, Marshall on 10. Right. But you need a big place for that. There's nothing wrong with that Class A sound. But these modeling amps, man, are really cool. All right, man. Thank you so much for the phone call.
Okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you again.
You got it. Whiteman Air Force Base. If you were there and you remember anything about a disc-shaped craft over the ammo bunkers there, let me know. I would like to find out. I still have a Tom Schultz Rockman. Man, now that's going back. Man, half of this audience has no idea. You know what? I wouldn't say that. I think that there are a lot of guitar players in this audience, and they still have a Tom Schultz Rockman. Those original ones were cool. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Janine Basol.
Hi, Janine. How are you? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great, actually. The latest stroke survivor.
I know, right?
The only stroke victims are the ones who don't survive.
Yeah.
About that?
Yeah. Did you see? We posted out there. Our friend Daryl Sims just.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed he had the other kind, the hemorrhagic stroke.
Right.
And I went and donated some money to help their bills.
Yeah, just so. I'm just glad that you're feeling better. When I got your email, I was just like, holy crap, but.
I was really blessed. And of course, it's a rare one, I get the rare stuff, the stuff the doctors scratch their heads about.
Well, you got to keep them on their toes, Janine. But how are you feeling?
I'm doing well. My eyesight's still giving me a little bit of trouble. Detail work is still a little difficult down near the bottom of my visual field, and my right leg kind of feels funny. It kind of hangs funny. It's hard to describe it. It's not so much that it's weak, but it just kind of plops around.
Well, it's going to get better, though.
It will. Everything will get better.
Exactly.
I will be at Soul Tech in August, and I'll probably be feeling even better than I was feeling before the stroke.
That's all that matters, Janine. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We had a pretty amazing week on the show. I noticed that you were hanging out. What did you think about this week?
It's been a great week. It's been really, especially last night with Denny Sheehan. He's awesome. He's just such a treasure trove of knowledge.
For me, there's nothing like just sitting here and taking notes. It's what I do. Yeah. I'm not kidding. I take notes.
Oh, I believe you. I'm not laughing because I don't believe you.
Janine, just get better for us, okay? You've got.
I will.
You've got all the power of the Fadernauts behind you, and when they send out those positive vibes, you feel it.
Yes, you do, because they're all sincere. Everybody's sincere, and that's what I appreciate about Fadernauts. One thing I appreciate about them.
Yeah, it's the best family in the world.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys last week when I was in the hospital, but I couldn't I couldn't see my phone well enough to text in. So that's why you didn't hear from me last week.
You should have turned all of the nursing staff on the floor onto Fade to Black. Did anybody ask you what you were listening?
They were listening to it. They were listening as they came in and out of my room. I was the only one, and I had my own room.
You should have called. Why didn't you call in? You could have had one of the nurses dial the number.
I didn't even think about that. Calling in. I was just thinking about texting, and I couldn't do that very well. I just didn't even think about calling in. So.
Oh man, that is too cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for everything, and I'm just glad that you're feeling better. I'm watching Twitter right now light up. Everybody is so happy.
Oh, that's great. I'm not in front of my iPad where the Twitter is open tonight, so I'm kind of moving around a little bit. And I just try to keep getting exercise, get a balance, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Janine, everybody is saying right here, positive vibes coming your way. I'm going to retweet it right now. Okay.
Oh, thank you, and I'll see it when I get in there in just a minute.
I'll talk to you.
Trying to make some tea.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you. Got to get started back on my life change tea. Dissolve any more blood clots that might still be waiting to go off.
Oh, man, Janine, you are special. Thank you so much. Never change, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate you and the way you treat everybody. So special.
Positive vibes. Positive vibes.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Janine. Be safe.
And everyone else.
And we'll see.
Jimmy, Rita, everyone. Thank you so much.
We're all thinking about you, Janine. And we'll see you on Monday. You have a great special weekend, okay?
You guys, too. You enjoy your time off.
Thank you, Janine.
Okay, bye-bye.
Janine, out of the hospital, hanging out with us. It doesn't get any better than that. It's the best family in the world. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Deb from Sacramento.
Hi, Deb from Sacramento. How are you doing?
Hi. Good, Jimmy. Hey, Janine has her life change tea, and I have a new addiction now, too. I hate to admit it. It's called River Moon Coffee.
I know, right?
Oh, I mean, in the morning, if there's some left, I don't dump it down the sink. It goes in the fridge. So when I come home, I have it with dinner. I don't want to waste a drop of it. It is the best coffee, and I'm not a plant, I swear, Fadernight. No, it's so good. It is so good.
It's amazing. See, you know, this is the truth. The coffee backs up my hype. It backs up my BS. I'm telling everybody how great it is, you know, and when I, like right now, right, on the cameras, right now, right, I'm taking a sip, and then I make that face, this one. It's a real face. That's a real face. That's a real face. In fact, it was so good, I'm going to do it again.
There you go.
So good.
Well, so
it's just amazing. It's amazing. Amazing coffee.
Yeah. Well, that's my new addiction. I wanted to touch on the topic of the opioids real quick.
Okay. So you want to talk about, you want to go from coffee addiction to opioid addiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they're connected. Everything's connected, right?
Sure. So nothing wrong with coffee. It's good for you. Anyway, opioids, I was thinking about, hearing John's thing about it. And one of the biggest abusers, I'm afraid to say, is doctors in private practice. And I know that because I've worked for a couple of them. I got two quick examples to give you. One doctor was a neurosurgeon. He didn't take them himself. He liked to have Manhattans, though, before surgeries in the afternoon to calm his nerves. But he was very liberal in doling them out to his patients. Even if they had gone through their prescriptions, I'd say, hey, we'd write out their prescription, or we'd give them the message. He goes, yeah, write it out, call it in. I go, well, they just had one. Are they in pain? Yeah, he goes, call it in. and he'd give it to him anyway, doled it out like candy. And then the other one was a heart surgeon, cardiovascular surgeon. He took them. He was always amped up on them. And I'll never forget one afternoon, we're in the office. I get a call. He's in surgery. I won't say what hospital or their names or anything, but he's got the patient under. They've been under for 15 minutes. He's about to do heart surgery, and he doesn't have their films. He doesn't have their x-rays. I have to grab the x-rays, run over to the hospital, run them into the the surgery room. You know, I mean, I couldn't go in there because I wasn't gowned, but I handed them off, and I'm watching through the window, and I mean, here's the patient. He's been out for 15 minutes, and he's so amped up on drugs, he forgot their x-rays. So doctors are, unfortunately, big abusers of opioids.
Truckloads, convoys. You know, I don't know. I've looked at the numbers, and when you look at the numbers and the price per pill, and you start to break things down, and you look the manufacturing of it. I wasn't joking when I said to John that the numbers dictate of manufacture of this, that every man, woman, and child in the United States was just in a car accident and broke every bone in their body. I mean, that's what's really going on. And we know that that's not true. So if that's not true, then why and where, why is the manufacturing being done and where are they going to? But nobody cares. It's a money thing.
They're too drugged up to care.
I don't, yeah, really. I would think that, I guess, Congress and the Senate, they don't want their, oh man, I shouldn't even say it out loud. They don't want to be cut off.
Say it.
Yeah,
I'll say it.
They don't want to be cut off. They don't want to be cut off.
And, the abuse has been going on for over 50 years easily too, because I remember being 8 years old and my grandmother unfortunately had a drinking problem, and she was getting medication from her doctor back then, and he was doling out the pills too. And one night she decided, after having too many drinks, it'd be a good idea to take a bunch of pills and go to sleep, and that's just what she did. So this abuse has been going on for decades, unfortunately.
Yeah. You think about, and it's really funny when you go back and look at movies from the 50s and the 60s, and you look at that, and the housewives were, popping pills to do housework all day, right? And this was the image that they were projecting: be the productive mom, right? And go and do all these things all day. But yet you need to get your sleep at night. So you're taking your sleeping pills and you're waking up in the morning and it was like this. They laid the groundwork, right, for this type of addiction. And it's really, really crazy. But back then it was like considered normal. Like these were magic drugs. These were magic times. And I just think back, and look back, and that's kind of the image that they were projecting out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, Richard Carpenter's mother got him started.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, I got to let you go, Jimmy. I know you got more calls. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
Thank you, Deb. Be
Enjoy
safe
that
out
coffee.
there. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Have a great night. There was this thing that went down. We talked about some UFOs tonight. Valium and Quaaludes. Valium. I just remember this whole thing about it that was happening in the 70s. I remember reading about it and people talking about it. Do they even make? Is Valium still out there? I don't even know. I haven't heard. I can't even believe I just said it. Or Quaaludes. Right? Do they still manufacture Quaaludes? Are Quaaludes still manufactured out there? So today, it's, these opioids and, of course, Oxycontin and all those other names that I can't pronounce, and Valium and Tramadol. What's the fentanyl, and the talk about this going all the way across. And I had read today, this is what I read today, that down in Mexico, I had just read this about this. There's a Mexican drug queen. I forget the city that she's in. She's an ex-federale, right? Ex-Mexican federal officer, agent. And they stopped growing pot. They're growing opium. That's where the money is at right now. Crazy. Oh, somebody just said Valium's still available. There you go. I had no idea. Is it really? Yeah, that's really. And what about Quaaludes? I remember. I thought the rumor was that fentanyl diluted are in a national shortage. Oh, we can't get those for legit purposes. I've heard the same thing. That there are shortages at some of these hospital pharmacies and in hospitals, right? No on quads, yes on Valium. And that comes from Nurse Nancy, who knows her prescriptions. Is that true, though? So they're called quads? Quaaludes are called quads? Is that? I don't know, man. I am so out of it. Weird noise in background on JC Radio. Really? No, I'm not. I read all that. You really want me to say that out loud? I can't do that. All right. You guys are funny. All right, I got to take a break right here. I didn't talk about yet the fire that happened last night. Okay, so I've got 1 minute here. So last night, during hour 3 on the show with Danny Sheehan, I got the whiff of that electronic burn smell. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought it was coming from outside of the bunker door. That's scary, right? And then it got really strong, and then the white smoke came up from behind my monitors and wafted up to the ceiling. And I look, and you can see it on the video. I looked below, and I could see out of the ventilation holes on the side of the computer, I could see a little orange glow. I immediately go back to the interview. I don't want to say anything. I didn't know if it was going to, turn into flames. Then I would have done it, but so I let it go. And I just wanted to make it to commercial. And I knew that I had 15 minutes left. All right. So what happened with the computer, obviously got up early today. I knew I had the show tonight, and how it got resolved and everything. I'll tell you about all of that after the break, and I will get to all of your phone calls, and we'll do all of that next. This is Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fadernight. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with me.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thursday night, Fader Night. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Okay, so back to the computer. I got a custom-built computer today, and we took a chance on, look, once we took apart the old one and opened it up, a couple of the cable harnesses had burst into flames. We don't know why. Half of the power supply was working, half wasn't. So there was some kind of charge or voltage spike that went down and wasn't controlled, and these two cable harnesses burnt up. That went to the hard drives. Didn't get to the hard drives. There was another link, an extension between the two hard drives that, so the flaming was before that. Nonetheless, hard drives were spared. And once I knew that the hard drives were okay, then, and this was at my computer guy's place, and they put together a custom-built, threw in a motherboard, fired up the hard drives, and they actually loaded. I couldn't believe it. So it cycled through Windows 10, cycled through, search for drivers, boom, and it installed. So everything went cool there. So we were able to salvage a very expensive video card that I had in that computer. That went in, everything. I could not believe how lucky I was. So I've got a new motherboard and everything here, new case, new computer. The old hard drives are there, but I'm done with that as far as disk drives go. So I'm going to go and I'm going to have solid state drives installed tomorrow. And dodged a bullet. The things that were on those two hard drives, half of it was backed up. Half of it wasn't. You get lazy. And I was stuck, man. I was stuck. And part of the reason why I was freaking out, if there were problems with the hard drives, it goes back to different programs and passwords and things running in the cloud, and you've got to just configure and forget about the other big thing, which was a large amount of files and things that weren't backed up. That was really a bummer, but dodged a bullet. I got everything backed up today. And everything configured. I'm just going to go back tomorrow and I'm going to clone these drives across the board and go with SSDs. Got to do it. Got to take the plunge. All right, let's go to who's been on hold the longest here. Area code 716. Yes, you.
Jimmy, hi, it's Steve here from Lockport. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Steve, from Rockport. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm kind of surprised you're still on those old hard drives with the platters in them. We're up to M2 drives now, buddy. SSDs are a thing of the past.
I know. And so I'm going with I'm doing baby steps here, I have to admit. My computer guy has got SSDs, from 128s up to terabytes. And so there you go. That's what I'm going to do now. But the M2, again, if I'm going to do this,
M2 is lightning fast.
It is. Well, compared to to platters, SSDs are lightning fast. But this is the thing. If I'm going to go across the board, I'm running. You've seen pictures of my studio, so you know how many computers I'm running. And if I go M2 across the board, we're talking about thousands of dollars. And so I'm going to do baby steps here. I'm going to go with the SSDs first for the operating systems. I have all of these, fast terabyte drives that are in all of these computers. So I'll use those for the background. But as far as my operating systems and everything that's up front, I'm going to go with SSDs and plus it takes, a while to clone all of these drives. And I can't do everything all at once. So, but I'm hoping.
Take your time.
No, I'm hoping it's going to blow my mind.
Hey, the reason why I called you, because you guys were talking about the opioids.
Yes. Now,
on Twitter, I sent you a picture of my last back surgery, which was about 2 years ago. I had a 7-level fusion, thoracic 2 through 10. I've had that done 3 times. I've had 2 necks. I was a truck driver, 15 years, disc degeneration disease, and they've had me on mild, low-dose opioids, pain relief. They enable me to live and function. And you kind of made me mad, the way you're talking about the pills and everything, putting a kind of a bad light on it. I understand there's a problem, but what we have around here in the Buffalo area, Lockport where I live, Niagara Falls, is more or less 95 to 97% of it is with the heroin that's laced with the fentanyl. And that's what's killing people, not the pain pills. Now, I've been on them, and I take them the way the doctor, prescribes them. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes. I function very well with them. And it pees me off that workers' comp now in New York State is trying to, the insurance carrier is trying to boot me off them. So we're battling that in court. And I've been on comp 17 years. And they know, they know my history with the 5 back surgeries, and they know my discs are shot. And, it just pees me off when nobody shows any respect towards the people that are in pain, that need this stuff to function. We take it the way the doctors say, but yet they're arresting our doctors like they did to ours here in Buffalo, and this is going on across the country. I understand that some people have ruined it, but there's still a lot of people that need this stuff. Now, nobody's come up with an alternative. If they did, I'd be more than willing to try it on a trial basis. So go easy on us, because a lot of people need that stuff, bud.
Yeah, I know. And there's no look. The real need. I'll say this. This was probably let's go 20 years ago, and my dentist. I get a toothache, and it wasn't a toothache. It was a life-altering pain, right? And I call my dentist, and he picks up. I call him on his cell phone, and he was out of the state on vacation. And this was like on a Friday afternoon. I said, what? And he goes, yeah, man, I won't be back in the office till Monday. And I said, dude, I think I'm going to die within the hour, right? And he goes, okay, look, man, I'll get you a prescription. Just go over to the drugstore. I'll phone it in right now, and we'll get you some antibiotics, and I'll see you on Monday. I'm like, dude, I get to the drugstore, and it's Vicodin, and at the pharmacy, I open up. I'm shaking. I'm in so much pain, right? And I take 2 of them, I think, right there on the pharmacy floor, and with the antibiotics, and I stumble out. Anyway, I was okay. An hour later, I was okay. And that there was a need. All of the Advil in the world wouldn't have even, phased that kind of pain. And I get that. And then you have, broken limbs and things, and back pain, and I get and I understand all of that. But like I said, and I mean this, that the amount of opioids that are being manufactured right now by Big Pharma, the numbers, they've got to be sitting back and looking at the reports, the manufacturing numbers and the profits that are coming in. They see that trend. But it's as if every man, woman, and child in the United States has been in a car accident. And
big, huge increase.
Yeah, but nobody wants to talk about the obvious here. And it's not the people that need them, but it's the other part here. When you're shipping a couple of semi trucks of opioids to a pharmacy out in the middle of nowhere, well, then you have to ask the question. The local population isn't supporting this, but nobody wants to say anything.
That's not right.
No, it's not, and you're absolutely right. I got 2 emails, as I mentioned that earlier. I got 2 emails that came in during the show talking about, there are shortages in hospitals. Well, you know what? Now we've got a real problem. If that is indeed the case, I don't want to report fake news, but if that is indeed the case, then why isn't somebody addressing this?
I agree. I think everybody's got scared now, bud.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, you remember what I said? Maybe Congress or Washington isn't doing anything because they don't want their supply to dry up. I'm just saying. I'm just calling it out. Oh, man, I'm going to get in so much trouble. Thank you for the phone call, though. What's your name?
Thank you, sir. Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Great phone call, my friend.
Have a good night. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you. Great phone call, Steve. Really appreciate that. Love Rockport, by the way. Let's stay on the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, it's Sarah from the UK.
Sarah from the UK?
Good morning.
How are you?
Good evening.
Yeah, what part of the UK?
Dover.
Dover. So, wait a minute. Sarah who?
Sarah Pearson.
I knew it. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. And yourself?
Well, see, this is what's funny, Sarah. For those out there that are listening, this is Sarah's first time calling the show. I've never met Sarah. Sarah, have we ever met?
No, not at all.
No, but we talk all the time on Twitter, and that's all that matters. So what's going on out there? What time is it?
It is 5:15.
5:15, and you're listening to Fade to Black. And where's your
Absolutely.
So, what's on your mind tonight, Sarah? This morning?
Well, I was just calling about the opioids.
Yeah, I remember, and I want to hear your piece. 4 years ago, one night, I started talking about breakfast cereal.
Mm-hmm.
We did 3 straight hours of cereal, and so tonight it's opioids, and this is a big concern. So, what's on your mind?
Well, I've actually been on opioids now for 10 years.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Go ahead, tell me about it. Now, you're listening.
As tramadol.
You're listening to yourself in the background. I hear it.
Jim, turn it down.
Yeah, there you go. Tell him to turn it down. He's got to turn it down. Okay, so 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years I've been on it now.
And is it because of addiction or is it because of pain? And you don't have a choice?
It's because of pain. I have chronic pain syndrome after a nasty mishandled birth. So I've ended up disabled through it, and I now have to rely on opioids to even mobile. I have patches, so I have morphine going into me every hour, and then I have extra morphine on top of that through the day.
Wow. And is it, after 10 years, is it, are you physically affected by it now? I'm assuming that you are. Right.
Yes, yeah. I spent 4 weeks at St Thomas's in London, and they tried taking me off the tramadol, and it was done quite quickly, and the results, it was like I was coming off a nasty addiction until they were able to control it again and replace it with something that wasn't as bad, but still bad, if you get what I mean.
Right. And what are your choices? Do you have any choices?
Not really. If I want to mobilise, I have to use the morphine.
Right.
But of an evening, I actually use marijuana, and I find that a lot better for me. It works better, I think.
Right.
Than any of the morphine, but it's not legal over here yet.
Oh, that's right. Say it again. Say marijuana for me.
Marijuana.
Yeah, it sounds so good with an English accent.
Like tea and biscuits.
Yeah, not quite the same. But the pot laws in the UK are pretty severe, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, very tight.
Yeah, you get caught. What would you rather get caught with, pills or marijuana by the police?
Well, pills I can explain. Right. Marijuana I can explain because obviously it's for medical health.
Right, and they don't buy that. There's no medical prescriptions for marijuana.
No, not yet.
Do you think that'll change?
I hope so. I hope that we'll follow you over there, because it will certainly help a lot of people.
I think it will change, but what about CBD? Will that?
Oh, we have that.
And have you tried that?
We have that. Oh, I've tried every sort of CBD. It just doesn't seem to work for me. It works better for Jimmy, right? With his sciatica, but not for me. Mine is too severe for CBD to even touch.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, chronic pain syndrome.
I know.
I'm never out of pain.
It's just it's 24/7.
Yes.
And I mean, I can't imagine, living like that. And is there an opioid alternative?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I've tried all the other things, TENS machines. I've tried all the different classes that they try and push on you. I've done them all, and they're all crap.
Right. And what if, and I know you must think about this, Sarah, what if the pain ended? Right?
Oh,
okay.
it'd be amazing.
But then is there an addiction that you're going to have to deal with when the pain ends? Or if it ends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's never going to end. I've been registered disabled now for the rest of my life.
Unbelievable. Sarah, I don't know, thoughts and prayers, you have to, work through this. But that's...
Yeah, life keeps going. I have to trundle along. I mean, I get a lot of help from family.
Right.
It's not easy, believe me. I have to walk with crutches. I have a mobility scooter, so it's, and little and obviously understands that Mummy's disabled and I can't do as much as other mummies can and things like that. So it's hard, but we deal with it between the three of us.
Well, have you thought about moving to the States?
Oh, we think about it every day.
Right. I mean, this is what is crazy. And I'm sure you heard me talk about this a couple of weeks ago. But wrap your head around this for a second. Wrap your head around. We have pot stores where right now in Los Angeles, you just walk in and walk out. And you can drive down the street with it in your car. It is legal. It's legal.
Not having to hide.
No, it's the craziest vibe to walk into. Look, I was, for most of my life, I was the biggest pothead in the world, right? I love I just love my pot, right? But to go through... trying to go out and, and get your weed dealer on the phone and get over to his house and then somehow, stuff it down your pants, get into your car, paranoid, driving home, get into the house and that whole paranoid thing, right, that you got to go through. And, and then you would smoke that and then have to go through it again. This big those days are over. It's over. You don't have to wonder if your pot dealer's got pot. You go into the pot store and they have 100 different jars and kinds of everything that you can imagine in front of you. You can open it all up and it's just like, is this legal? Well, yeah, it is. It's like the craziest thing. So come on over. Come on over, hang out for a month, get a visa. And smoke pot until your eyeballs fall out. And maybe that chronic pain would find that cure. I don't know.
It would be lovely. It's not just chronic pain, it's skeletal problems, but Jim, get the book. We're going to America.
I know. If you guys, trust me, Rita knows where to go. Okay, I'm letting you know now. Okay, so just come on over. You'll get the hookup.
Oh, that'd be amazing. No pain.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not dispensing medical advice, but
no, I know of an evening. The pain difference, it's so different.
And plus, somebody just said, Jimmy Church, it's still illegal federally. Yeah, you kind of got to get pulled over by the feds, though. I don't see that happening.
Court first.
Yeah, and so, but the thing is, these scientists over here, these mad scientists, they're creating weed that shouldn't be legal. I'm just telling you. Now, it's crazy strong. But Sarah, all the best to you and Jimmy. And if you want to come over here, we'll get you all hooked up.
Oh, lots of love to everyone.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Be safe and be well.
Take care.
Talk to you. Sarah from Dover with Jimmy in the background, the Reverend Jimmy in the background. You can smoke cannabis where it's legal, go home to where it's illegal, and lose your job if you pee dirty. That is funny. I've been wondering about this whole federal thing. And isn't it at the point now and we were talking about this last night with Danny Sheehan, that our generation, my generation, that's who is running this country right now, and that older generation that I had to deal with, they're dying off. They're dying off. And that's where it's at today in this world. There isn't going to be that kind of control in Washington, and they've already lost the control at the state level, and they just might as well just tap out. Just tap out, cut the federal stuff out when it comes to marijuana. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's the thing. If somebody cares, I'm talking about those out there that want to cause trouble with marijuana laws. They're dying out. Nobody cares anymore. There are some. It just shouldn't be illegal. It shouldn't. Man, I haven't smoked pot in so long. Talking about it right now on this show makes me want to smoke some weed. But no, I don't do it anymore. I don't. There are those out there wondering, sounds like church is kind of high right now. No, I don't smoke the marijuana anymore. I hang out with you guys when you do, and how do we get here? Thank you for that phone call, Sarah. See, this is the thing. And I've read a few reports on this and a few studies out there. Couldn't marijuana be considered, when it comes to this opioid crisis out there, to help with that? I don't know. Is it possible to be addicted to marijuana? I don't think so. I was a huge pothead, and just one day, this is years ago, I'm going to go back, it was like 2003, 2002, 2003, just one day I didn't buy it. I just stopped. I didn't even think about it. It was just kind of weird. I was like, man, I haven't smoked pot in a couple of weeks. Oh, well. And that turned into a couple of months, turned into a couple of years, and here I am in 2018, and that's where I'm at. So I don't know. I suppose if anybody could have been addicted, it would have been me. To develop an addiction, but I just stopped one day, and I just kind of looked the other way. I do the CBD, though. I do that every day, and I also, New Pharma, the Relief tincture is really good. The Foundation is really good, but and CBD, Ancient Life oils, I do that every day. There's something about what it does. Smoking one for you right now, Jimmy. You guys are the best. All right, let me get out of here, and I'll come back and take more of your phone calls. 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. It's Fadernight. It's open lines all night long. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm surprised we didn't get into breakfast cereals tonight with all this pot talk. Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. More of your phone calls are next. Stay with me.
Hey, what up, y'all? Sugar Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Talking about UFOs, Canadian guitar players, opioids, and marijuana. And I'm watching Twitter tonight, and everybody wants to talk. Everybody's stoned. I'm very impressed with this audience, and so with that, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello?
Yes.
That's me.
and who is this?
You're cracking me up. This is your Northern California tree buddy. Do you remember I called?
It can only be, hold on, Fiona Apple.
Wrong.
It's not Fiona Apple. Okay, who is this?
This is Liz up in Northern California, the gal who had her house smashed by a 150-foot pine tree.
Oh, my goodness. How are you? Man, it's been a couple of years since you've called in. That happened, that was like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah.
Took me 22 months to get it, just the hole in the roof fixed.
But is it fixed? That's the question.
The hole in the roof is fixed.
And
there's a giant hole in the deck yet, and my greenhouses lost everything.
Now, you didn't lose everything because you are okay. And that's
I'm
all
okay,
that matters.
and my little chihuahua is okay.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. The house can be fixed, and the greenhouses
took
can be...
mucho dinero to do that.
I can only imagine,
it took a long time to save up that money.
That was one of the, I have to admit, that was a very singular phone call.
I don't know why. I mean, I love you to death, and I love the Fader family.
Yes.
But I don't even know why I called you. I just had to call you.
It was, I'm going to say this. When I say, hi, you're live on Fade to Black, and the person on the other end says, hi, Jimmy, it's Liz, and a tree just fell on my house. And the chainsaws, we could hear them in the background. Right? You remember that? And I'm like, this, how? But I'm just glad, seriously, that everything is okay. The house is fixed, and so now I can honestly say, how you doing?
Oh, you make me so happy. I love your show, and I can't wait for Thursday nights. That is my favorite thing that you do, because so many wonderful, loving, smart, witty, cool people call in. And I really like that, because I'm pretty reclusive. And the only time I get to hear all these neat people is on Thursday night, when you really can open up and talk. It's a little different on Coast to Coast, But Fader night is my night. Yeah. I just love listening to you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Liz. And when I say this to everybody, I have to I want to drive this home. Thursday night is so special for me. Friday nights over on Coast, it's the same thing. It's a very special opportunity where I just get to sit and talk with all of you, and
You connect is what you're doing. You connect and you make bonds, really bonds.
Yeah, and I'm happy all day long, because I know it's Thursday night, it's Fader night, and I just get to sit here and just grab these phone calls and talk to all of you and whatever's on your mind, and let's just sit and yap.
Me too. I got to
awesome.
get everything out of the way, all the cats fed, everybody's happy, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to talk to you about, yes, I totally believe in UFOs. And if I ever had the chance to meet you face to face, I would tell you of possibly 3 experiences that I have never heard anybody talk about.
Well, give me one. Give me one.
No, I won't do it over the phone.
Why not? This is what...
Because I've been watched and listened to, and I just, I don't have a cell phone. I never did Facebook. I don't do email. None of that.
Liz.
And I'm an old-time researcher from 91. And all this stuff you see today, I did. Weather wars, everything.
Right.
All that. But importantly, and some of the experiences I had were fabulous. Anyway.
Well, what makes one of your experiences different from others that have been
One
reported?
of them had the dead involved.
Really?
Yes.
How so?
No.
Oh, come on, Liz. So what do you mean?
Cannot do it.
Wait.
Do you have a post office box?
Okay, wait, Liz. Hold on a minute. What do you mean? When you say the dead, are you saying relatives of yours or what?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Relative.
And this was tied into a sighting, an abduction.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Double whammy.
Well, yeah. And
have you ever heard of that before?
Listen, no. Well, sort of, but I haven't.
I've never heard it. Not like this.
Well, Whitley Strieber talks about that. and who the little blue guys turn out to be, the blue guys. And I always found that very interesting. So, but with yours, yours was an abduction experience. And during the abduction experience, you saw or met with one of your deceased family members?
They brought them to me.
They brought them to you. And so do you think that E.T. or who you met, this abduction, do you think that they are us from the future and they are in contact with the other side? Or were they?
No.
They were from off-planet. They were from another planet.
I would think so.
Right.
Or past time. I mean, they've been around forever.
Right. Right.
So how can you say, the future?
Right.
Were been here forever.
Were you able to communicate with them? Not with not with the deceased. With who abducted you?
With the deceased.
Well, I wanted to get to that in a second, but with those...
See, you're pulling this out of me, ain't you?
It's my job, Liz. It's my job.
Yeah, but anybody can look up the number that was called from. Even you got my number.
I would never.
You know?
I would never. You want me to post it right now? No.
Get out.
You know I wouldn't do that. Okay, so
I
now
know that.
let's get back to this. This is very interesting.
Well, there's something about opioids I want to tell you.
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Too.
Okay, we'll do that, and we'll talk about Canadian guitar players too. Okay, I promise. But did you ask them why they were bringing your deceased relatives to you?
No, I knew. There was like telepathy. You just knew.
Right.
You just knew. I was filled with gratitude.
Right. I can only imagine, right?
I was deeply crying. I was emotional. I fell on my knees when I saw who it was.
Who was it?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, okay. Was it a brother, a sister, a cousin, your mom, your dad, a grandfather? You don't have to say their name. Just you recognize them is where I'm going, right?
It's my child.
Your child.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. And when did your child leave this earth?
At 31 years old.
31 years old. And how old were you when this experience happened?
Let's see. My age?
Yes.
Let's see. I'm 67 years old now, so it was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
like yesterday.
Yeah. And so
I remember the color, where it was, the building, the blinds, the grass, the flowers, the bushes.
When this abduction happened, was it at night or was it during the day?
It was at night.
And did they? It sounds to me, so I'm just going to ask directly.
They came and got me, took me somewhere, put me in this room.
Right.
And they were in the shadows of the room and came walking towards me. And I fell on my knees in tears.
Of course. Of course. And so they did this so you could meet and see.
Because
your
I
child.
was so heartbroken.
Of course.
I have that, I love so deeply, and love is love, no matter if you love a cat, a bird, or a human, or whatever. Love is love. The only difference is the kind and the depth, but it's still love. It's the same thing.
Sure.
And I have that, I'm not sure what the name of it is, like Hashimoto's or something, broken heart disease.
Right.
Where it's not a heart attack, it's just where your heart cramps from being brokenhearted.
And did it help you? Did it help mend?
It reassured me that there's life after death.
Right.
And the person was in perfect natural condition. Beautiful. We hugged, I felt, everything was beautiful.
How long? How long were you able to hang out?
If I was in real life time, I would say maybe 25 minutes.
That's incredible. What an opportunity. Did you?
It was a blessed gratitude experience.
Now
I cry. I get tears when I think about it. I get choked up.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Now, okay, Liz, now that I'm all choked up, did it only happen this one time?
It only needed to happen one time.
That's exactly my question. Would you
mend me?
Right. That's incredible. So you don't need to do it a second time.
I wish everybody that felt the way I did before that would have that experience.
Right. That's now, did you turn to your abductors, your kidnappers, and thank them?
I didn't look at them as kidnappers.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You weren't
right.
But did you thank them?
Yes, I did. I certainly did, Ollie.
and how, when you like right now, you're reliving the experience and you're thinking about it. And are you happy inside? Are you happy and glowing?
It's joyful. It's a joyful, happy thing. Yeah.
And now your child, and I don't need any of that info. I'm not going to go there. But was your child happy?
Yes. And the first thing that they said to me was, "How did I get here?"
Wow. Did you guys talk about that?
It wasn't necessary.
Right.
You know, I knew, but they didn't.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Get that.
Right. No, and that's what I'm saying. So did you divulge?
No, I didn't explain it.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
Right. But they
did not believe like I believe, because I've had experiences since I was 2 years old. So they didn't think like I did. Sort of, but not really. They were more in the world than I was. Trying very hard to succeed, be a success, you know, that type of person.
Right.
Didn't get involved with all this other stuff that I have been involved with forever.
What did you do with your family after this? Did you share the experience with them?
No.
You can't. Did you want?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, how do you?
It's like you wish you could tell. It's like trying to tell people about hemp oil that don't want to hear about it.
Or anything like this. Sure. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I do, because I've had my experiences that I didn't tell anybody anything ever. Nobody. Now, I don't care. Now, once I started talking about it, I just couldn't shut up, and I had it inside of me for so long. And, and now I have this wonderful audience and family that I know that I can just say how I feel and what I've gone through. And I'm able to get that peace. And I couldn't, once I started, Liz, I just couldn't shut up. And, if I hear from Rita or some of my other friends, dude, if you tell that story one more time, I'm going to scream, but I can't help myself, and so for you, sometimes you just need that, you just need that piece just to talk about it.
Oh, I wish I could vent out. I wish I could just sit down with you, have a cold beer, and talk to you for about 5 hours.
And we will do it one day. And see, this is the other thing. There are those out there right now that are listening to you that haven't talked about a similar experience. And they know that they can, if they want, they can certainly call and talk to me about it, but they can go and maybe talk to a friend or a family member and just talk about it. But certainly you can do it on the show, sort of anonymously. You're speaking to, thousands and thousands of people, but you...
Hello, Fader family.
Exactly. And you have the shelter, the security of just doing this over the phone but it's okay, and you are letting other people know that it's okay, that you can talk about things like this. And that's the best part of this show, and that you've got this family and the support group. And who did you call when the tree fell on your house? You called Jimmy Church, right?
I did.
That was one of the great nights. I remember after and I was telling you, I remember that night. What are you doing talking to me? Go and deal with this. But
they were calling me the tree lady.
That's right. For a long time too, as well. They're all. You should see Twitter right now. But that's the reason why, Liz, is you had a very, very special experience. And I can assure you that there are so many people out here that are listening right now going, you know what? That happened to me too. It was, but I've never told anybody about it. And that's what's so special.
I always think you're never alone in your experiences because, time you're having a baby, 50 million other women are having a baby at the same time. So you're never alone, And when you wake up in the morning, you got to be so grateful that you made it that night because a million people never wake up the next morning.
Right.
So you always have to have deep gratitude in your heart for every blessed little minute that you live.
Every second of every day.
Right.
Every second of every day. The reality of it is, if you were told, right, if somebody just came and said, you know what, man, you're going to die in 10 minutes.
I was just going to say, if you had 1 month to live, what would you do with it?
Well, and what would you regret? Right?
You don't have time for that.
Well, but you would look back, and what I'm suggesting is this. You would look back and go, that one day I was such a dick. Right? And I wish I could have that back because that was a day that I wasted. Right, I wasted. I was mean to somebody. I went out of my right.
But we don't all have perfect days. You know that.
No, we don't. You know, so try to make them perfect. You know, try to make them perfect. You know, and
don't hold a grudge.
Don't hold a grudge. It's wasted energy. It's so wasted. When people, it's so funny to me. I'll block somebody, or I will, whatever in social media. I'll block an email. You know, so I'll block somebody, and then they'll send me an email. Dude, man, that wasn't cool, man. Why would you go and unfriend me or whatever? And my response is in that email, because you're writing me this email right now. That's why. It's wasted energy, and I don't have time for negativity. Life is too short. It's way too short. It's way too short. Blink of an eye, and the next thing you know, I was watching this interview the other day with Alec Baldwin. And Alec goes, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, I'm old. And I'm thinking now about, I'm having the thoughts of, what do I have time left to do things? And where did I waste time in the past? And I'm actually having those kinds of thoughts now. And I never used to think like this. And then you start to think about, how, it blinks by so fast. So fast.
Oh, so fast.
It's crazy. It's crazy. When you're 20, and how many times have we heard this? But when you're 20, you don't care. And if
you think you're immortal.
You do. And you live it that way, too.
Oh, yeah, you do dangerous things.
Oh, dangerous.
I used to race my Corvette and would just do donuts and all kinds of things. I wouldn't do that now.
No, blow through stop signs at 60 miles an hour, and I've done those things. Liz, thank you for calling in. All right, just thank you so much. Now, this is the challenge that I'm going to give to you. Next Thursday is another Fader night. You got to tell me about experience number 2.
Oh.
Liz.
If I could make it to midnight in the desert, contact in the desert,
right?
I would do it in a heartbeat, just to meet you and Rita.
All right. Can you get there?
I cannot on my own.
Oh, I was going to say, if I got you passes, would you make it there?
I would try, but.
Okay, all right. So look, Liz, you have Rita's email.
The opioids gave me seizures.
Oh, I see.
So I'm paranoid to drive. But the CBD oil, I have not had a seizure in a long time.
Well, listen, Liz, you have Rita's email address. So just write Rita. We'll communicate through there, and we'll see what we can do. All right?
All right.
Liz,
all right.
Have a great, safe, wonderful, beautiful weekend.
You do the same. And to the Fader family that I love, everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Liz. Be safe.
You too.
I'll talk to you. Great phone call. Thank you, Liz. And with that is how you wrap up a Fader night right there with Liz. Liz, unbelievable. That was one of the great phone calls in the history of the show when she called in a couple of years ago when the tree fell on her house. We can laugh about it now. The house is fixed. That's an incredible story. Thank you for sharing that with everybody here tonight, Liz. Just absolutely incredible. I do want to thank Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake Newsroom, everybody that tweeted and called in tonight. Just Fader Night is the best night of the week. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Show is produced by Hill J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster Drew the Geek. Music Doug Aldrich. Intro Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Everybody have a great, safe, wonderful, beautiful weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Go Backley Tapping.